Good morning and welcome. My name is Randy Rolfe and I'm a Platinum Independent Nikken distributor, and this is a product showcase. It's one of almost 20 calls that we do live every week to introduce people to not only the products but the specific technologies, and if you're interested in building a business, that too. But this is a product showcase. And it's put together to share the real-life stories. It's not sponsored by the company. It's put together by us consultants who've been using the products. And my name, like I said, is Randy Rolfe. I've been using the products. It'll be 19 years in August. And I believe they've stopped the clock for my husband and I. I think we have a few more wrinkles, but we still feel 35 instead of I'm late 60s, he's early 70s, but nobody seems to notice that when we're jumping around like we do. I discovered Nikken 18 years ago in '97, and I was one who already knew that electromagnetic pollution was destroying our health. We didn't heal as fast, we had more stress, and many more problems than used to be the case when we were in the natural living. Just a moment, I need to mute here. Why is that not working? Here we go.
Maybe if everyone else muted themselves, Randy.
Yeah, if everybody can mute themselves, that would be good. I'm not finding the mute all. It's a little different chart from usual. Okay, thank you. And I had studied nutrition since the early 70s and became a certified nutritionist in the 80s. And while I was a lawyer and also a family counselor, I was teaching nutrition, and I knew that we were polluting our environment more and more and more, not only in air and water and food, but also in the energy fields. So when I heard about Nikken, that Mr. Masuda over there in Japan had figured out a way to create a microenvironment for our bodies so that we could still be in a natural field, I was all over it. And I jumped in, used all the products. My kids were raised with the products. They were teenagers when we started, and it's made a huge difference. One of the reasons I knew about the electromagnetic pollution was because we were living in an old farmhouse that didn't have any basement. So we were getting the direct energy of the earth, and our visitors kept saying, why didn't they get tired? We put them to work renovating the house, and they said they just didn't get tired like they did living in Philadelphia. And the other thing was, we had helped Indians and farmers in a lawsuit against the New York Power Company that was putting an ultra high voltage transmission line across their land, where they said, well, there are not many people. Well, the farmers and the Indians didn't agree with that. And so as young lawyers, we learned about what was happening around the ultra high voltage transmission lines in Canada. And we saw pictures of 14-inch dandelions and heard about infertility in cows, two-headed calves, and some really nasty things, and also an increase in cancer around schools that were near these lines in Canada. So I was really excited that there was a company that had developed products that would keep us most of our lives in a natural field that replicated the Earth's energy. So I'm going to show a few slides to get us into the amazing technologies of Nikken. And so bear with me here. So that's what we do in Nikken. We discover active wellness. We discover it, live it, and share it with our family and friends, and we can even make a business out of it and share it with others. And then Nikken pays us for spreading the word. I learned long ago in practicing with family counseling that it's the small decisions every day that add up to our happiness and health. It's not great January commitments to join a fitness club or lose 30 pounds. It's about making smart decisions every day. And I believe Nikken is the easiest way to do that. The motto of the company is humans being more. and we make good choices every day, we can be more of who we are meant to be. If our lifestyle is weak, we kind of choose the wrong thing. In the 20, 30 decisions we make every day, we become humans under stress. And stress is the biggest killer today. So the difference is those little decisions, and the easier you can make those little decisions, the better. And that's where we get excited about NECAN. But to set the context here, in the last 18 years, stress has only gone up, and we thought we were conquering heart disease and diabetes and some of those things with our medical system, but it's just not happening because it's a breakdown of all systems in the body due to stress and toxins and poor lifestyle choices. So the things that kill us and the things that decrease our quality of life are all related to stress and toxins in our environment. And these things are only getting worse. You only have to open your paper or look online and you see the numbers are going up for fatigue, for allergies, for depression, for anxiety, for all kinds of problems, as well as heart disease, breathing problems, pulmonary, and cardiovascular, and certainly diabetes is getting worse and worse, especially with the obesity crisis. Sleep, one of the biggest things they're discovering is that poor sleep adds to obesity. It also adds to poor food choices because we're low on energy. We actually snack on things that keep us awake at work, or we overdo the caffeine and the sugar. So these things all work together to diminish our quality of life. Air pollution is on the increase, and 7 million premature deaths annually are linked to air pollution, according to the World Health Organization. And we don't have to say more about that. We know that the indoor air pollution can be worse than the outdoor. And that's because we closed up our houses in the 70s to save on and cooling and heating costs. And so the dangerous positive ions build up, and all the chemicals and toxins that have been added to our clothes and our bedding and our curtains and our carpets and our cleaning, all of those accumulate in the house as well. So we're getting more and more air problems. And then there's water, and you don't have to hear much about Flint, Michigan, and now Warminster, Pennsylvania, where there's amazing toxins seeping into the water system. And my daughter is a hydrogeologist in Southern California, and she can certainly tell you that our water tables are in dire distress, and buying bottled water doesn't make much difference, or even a Brita filter. It makes it taste better. It gets rid of some of the chlorine taste, but you can still have thousands and thousands of contaminants in the water buying bottled water. You really do need to get purified water. And the federal government recently reported that one of the biggest sources of carcinogens is our showers, because we're getting hot water vapors that have highly toxic chlorine compounds in them. And one of the best things you could do to protect yourself from cancer is to get a shower filter, which is a very neat idea, because NECAN actually has one of those. So moving forward, the people who are suffering the most, of course, are our children. Growing up in the 50s and 60s, we still weren't exposed to many chemicals. Even though my grandfather, he said we had to peel our apples because they were starting to put all kinds of chemicals on the apples. And I thought he was kind of a little nuts. So, you know, my granddaddy worrying about apples. Now there are several dozen different chemicals on most commercially marketed apples. And 1 out of every 5 adolescents is obese today, and children are starting at younger ages to have nutritional problems, obesity, diabetes, and so on. Less than half of adolescents are getting their recommended amount of vegetables. And of course, low-income families have it much, much worse. They're often in food deserts. They don't have access to good information or health or fresh foods. And 27% of high school children don't get the recommended amount of activity. And that's understandable because so many of them are eating poorly, lacking energy, and are overweight or obese. So this is unacceptable, having our kids start out poorly. I learned long ago in nutrition that if your first 14 years are good and solid on good food, good air, good exercise, clean water, you'll live longer. But today our kids are starting out badly. Newborns have already 200 chemicals in their blood. So the dangers are increasing, and it's an unacceptable situation. So what is the answer? It is about making those daily choices to be a human being more. Be healthy by choice, not by chance. The chances aren't good if you just, go to the refrigerator and do whatever the TV told you to do, or the latest ad, or even your friends down the street. Your chances aren't good of being healthy. But active wellness and self-care makes all the difference. So in comes Nikken. It's the only company with a totally balanced, comprehensive approach to total health, and it's one of the most compelling companies in the world. My husband and I, being lawyers, we checked them out. I was not a fan of multinational companies, but Nikken basically broke the mold. I fell in love with their idea of 5 pillars of health, that true health depends on all 5 of these areas being abundant and in balance. Healthy mind, healthy body, healthy family, healthy society, and healthy finances. All of them matter. And when we gave up our legal careers to try to live more naturally and focus on family, we really thought we were never going to be wealthy. But with Nikken, that opportunity is there as well. It's truly an amazing. So this is Nikken's sole concept of a wellness home, where all of the essential vital elements of health are accounted for. An air system, sleep system, water system, fabulous food based on whole foods and organic, and even a full spectrum light for your bedside or your desk or your reading chair. And it's truly an amazing company. They started with the insoles, and this picture of a simplified picture of our product line. The insoles were the very first product in Japan in 1975, and in 4 years, Nikken became the fastest growing startup company in the history of Japan and still holds that record. So magnetics was their first signature technology that they developed, and most of the products are now in 4th generation of patented, even more effective magnetic products. And I've got them in my shoes right now. I stepped right off of a magnetic sleep system this morning. The sleep system has not only the magnetics, but also the technology of far infrared frequency, which is the life-giving frequency from the sun. It alkalizes and normalizes temperature for the body. It feels wonderful, and it's the only way that you can get into a really deep sleep. I was at a lecture at the University of Pennsylvania, and they said none of the drugs get you into a deep sleep. They just knock you out. So you're asleep, but you're not getting the deep restorative sleep. The other little square there is one of my favorite products. It's a back support. In the environment, we have air, water, and a shower system, that funny looking thing there. And they're all absolutely cutting edge of the technologies available, and they're priced to sell. They're absolutely within the range of any other product, even though they're technologically and effectiveness superior. And then the nutrition, of course, I could talk for hours on that, but I'll just mention that as an example, the osteodens, we work with Dr. Naidu, who's a famous microbiologist who has developed replenishment products that literally replenish the communications between cells so that the minerals move in and out of the bones. You don't have to take those dangerous bone medications anymore, because this works with the body, the same system that the body uses to build healthy bones in children, new people. We have amazing whole foods based juice that you see there, and also an organic based skincare. But I want to get on to our guest. And this is Madeline Zaworski. She's a nurse's nurse, a critical care nurse, and she's going to share with us her own stories with Nikken. So Madeline, please unmute yourself and tell us about your experience with Nikken.
Thanks for the opportunity, Randy. It's always a pleasure to join you. 20 years ago, I started out in critical care, as Randy mentioned, but then ended up in a corporate vice president position. And after helping to merge two institutions, then I became part of the downsizing or right sizing, whatever the term was used. So I had a very dear friend who had because of my background in cardiovascular, had this amazing improvement of her cardiac and pulmonary health, who started calling me about knowing that I love teaching and probably didn't want to go back to having to lay off other people. And she was correct there. I was looking for some type of an opportunity that I might want to look at this. And when she told me what the products were about, I thought she lost her mind. We both have masters in nursing, but it didn't make sense to me. So she sent me some tapes to listen to. And VHSs, long before using this kind of a modem. 18 to 20 years ago, we were still looking at VHSs and listening to cassette tapes. And 2 years later, I met her for lunch to return them, and could not believe that she was the same person I knew for 40 years at that point. And when I started asking her questions, she said, Madeline, you said we were going to have lunch and you were returning everything. And I said, well, if this created this response, why didn't you come to see me? One of the things that I would recommend to everyone listening, we have a wonderful new free membership and lower prices, is to go to the person that invited you, invest in some of the products, have a product demonstration, and experience what the products do. That was a 2-year lag for me, and I really retrospectively wish that I had listened to Jerry sooner. But anyway, to fast forward to today, after spending a 3-hour lunch with her, I bought a pair of insoles, the first step, and within 20 minutes had a wonderful product experience. And today, 18 years later now, I have a sister with Crohn's disease. We don't make medical claims, but prior to Nikken, Marie was in the hospital 4 times a year, taking steroids, narcotics, and she's not on any medications. And it's been, I call it kind of one miracle after another since. So I've been able to enjoy, as Randy mentioned earlier, if we share the 5 pillars of health, it to me is sharing a gift of hope. Many people are looking for ways to improve their health and take less medication. And so from over 50 years in nursing, Randy and I are about the same vintage here, the past 18 years has been the most rewarding as far as being able to teach and educate people, as we are through this mechanism here, through this platform, to consider kicking the tires and finding a one-stop shopping. Pretty easy to begin wherever you want to begin with that array of products that make up a wellness home. And then what happens is you become a repeat customer. So you can step in with the insoles, or if you have sleep issues, step in with the sleep system. But 20 years later, for me, from the time of not working in acute care, I've gone through 2 joint replacements, home from the hospital in a day. Didn't have to go to physical therapy with a hip replacement. I just pulled a muscle, and I'm sitting on a seat cushion, put some extra CM cream on, have a few power chips plus a flex pad right over where the pulled muscle is, and I'm fine. For each replacement, no one could believe at the hospital that at my age, I took no medications, a whole list of organic food, which of course they wanted me to stop taking. And I said, are you going to ask me not to eat? And that is what we have, organic, kosher, whole food supplements. So I'll be brief because our time is almost up. I highly encourage you. The two issues in our presidential election, certainly here in the United States, we may have some Canadians or other countries listening in, are cost, healthcare, economy, and healthcare. And healthcare costs are a part of the economic issue, as you know, with Medicare and access to healthcare, medical care, which is really fix it after it's broken. Our healthcare system is kind of an oxymoron. We fix it after it's broken instead of prevent. And the focus here is prevention. We still have the best medical system. We're not telling you not to have good medical care, but what I found is that you can use medical care system less and be able to enjoy a higher quality of life, more independence, improved range of motion and energy, and it's absolutely worth going back to the person who invited you, learning more. Join us as a customer. I think I'm into the next slide. Join us as a customer and consider sharing this best kept global secret. Thanks, Randy, for the opportunity.
Oh, Madeline, thank you. You touched on so many wonderful points, and it is all about self-care. Nobody is able to look out for us the way we do. We know our bodies, and we can go to the medical world for advice and help when we need it, but we need to take care of ourselves. And there's so many products, you just like you said, just start somewhere. And that is our last slide. Let me get that. Yes, there we go. Become a customer. Everybody needs to be a customer. Every one of us is exposed to cell phones every day, to toxins in the air, the water, the food, and poor sleep is an epidemic and causing many other problems. So become a customer, get back with the person who sent you to this call, and take to heart what Madeline shared. It's fantastic. Almost anything can get better. Nobody knows how well their body can perform until they're using a Nikan Wellness Home. If you fall in love with the products, you're perfectly welcome to join us as a partner. It's like a turnkey operation for sales online, so that can really help support your financial pillar. So thank you for sharing, Madeline, and for listening in on our call. And we also go back and with the person who invited you and check with all the other wonderful calls we have all week. And these are recorded so that you can come back and share Madeline's wonderful words with others. Have a great day. Thanks.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
So Randy,
Yeah.
did you stop the recording?